The world is sitting on a $400 trillion financial time bomb. And if you're white, you're a terrorist. My name's Howard Riell, and this is Real Truth. You're listening to the American Freedom Network, streaming live around the world at AmericanNewsNet.com and on Facebook, YouTube, Tumblr, Twitter, RealTruth.com, and the book, Real Truth, Stay Angry. And, of course, as always, broadcasting out across the Colorado Front Range on KHNC, Johnstown, Colorado, 1360 AM The Lion. Our call-in number, 877-254-7524. For my friends, that's right. If you're white, you're a terrorist. Says who? This from InformationLiberation.com. Reality Lee Winner, the 25-year-old federal contractor who was arrested on Saturday for leaking classified information to the media, is a resistance activist who believes, quote, being white is terrorism. Winner reportedly confessed to leaking a top-secret NSA document on purported Russian hacking to an unnamed news organization believed to be The Intercept. Her social media profile shows she's a thoroughly brainwashed, far-left resistance activist who said Donald Trump is a, quote, orange fascist and, quote, the most dangerous person in the country. She is an ethno-masochist who believes in, quote, who believes that being white is terrorism. Unquote. Well, my friends, there you have it. If you're listening to me right now and you are white, I want you to come out with your hands up. Lay down on the floor, assume the position, and wait for some law enforcement official to arrest you and charge with being white. And that's almost as bad as being male. And having white privilege is the same as P privilege. If you've been listening to this show for the last couple of weeks, you know exactly what I'm talking about. If you are a white male, I don't know what to tell you, your days are numbered. Because you're guilty of all kinds of things. Racism, misogyny, terrorism, 11 or 12 other things that end in ism. We're in a crazy time in America, and it's getting crazier. It's getting more insane, more ridiculous, more laughable, and by the way, more dangerous. This is the kind of flake, wacko, who's trying to take Donald Trump down. Well, they say you can judge people by their enemies. So if Donald Trump is the enemy of this kind of crazy, insane moron, well, then I want to support Donald Trump. I want someone in the White House who will make yahoos like this chick absolutely miserable. It's Tuesday. It's Real Truth. I'll be right back.
The American Freedom Network please call 1-805-45 to make your donation or send a check or money or PO Box 1750, Johnstown, Colorado 80534. PO Box 1750, Johnstown, Colorado 80534. Help us keep freedom on the air. Thank you.
Reasons to own gold. Brought to you by the Patriot Trading Group at allamericangold.com. Reason number 647. Most people don't even know that the courts have already ruled. Once money is deposited into the bank owns the money, and the depositor is merely an unsecured creditor of the bank. Which means if the bank goes under, you get paid last. After the financial crisis, instead of breaking up too big to fail, the government and the Federal Reserve created Dodd-Frank and made too big to fail banks even bigger while putting your deposit more at risk. I'm Joe Jakeman, CEO of the Patriot Trading Group. To learn more, visit us at allamericangold.com or call us at 800-951-0592.
My friends, the first danger sign with this NSA leaker is that her parents named her Reality. If you name your kid Reality, the kid is not going to be normal. And by the way, someone should be checking up on those parents. Here's Rush Limbaugh talking about NSA leaker Reality winner. Go.
There is a woman in the news today, 25-year-old, by the name of... What, the name is so odd. What is her name? Well, yeah, winner, but it's Secret Winner, Liberty, what I can't... Reality winner. How does a 25-year-old woman end up getting a security clearance that would allow her access? This woman is typical of American millennial youth today on the left. She has been totally radicalized. She hates Donald Trump. She hates the Republican Party. She hates conservatism. Where would she become radicalized like this? Well, obviously, wherever she went to school, she was radicalized. But I would maintain that she has been radicalized by American pop culture as well. And she is not the only one. You know, it's fascinating. Did you know, ladies and gentlemen, we found out who she is because she printed, apparently, some documents from the NSA which showed that the Russians were attempting to get into voter machines in several states. And the Democrats are out having orgasms over this today because they think this proves it. This is it. This is what we have been looking for. Well, the NSA has had this for I don't know how long. Obama has known about this even before he went out in December and said there's no evidence that the Russians ever tried to tamper with voting machines. He said this in December. He said that it wouldn't be possible. This document, or this series of documents that were leaked to the Intercept by Reality Winner, do not say what the drive-by media is reporting. They do not say that the Russians succeeded in hacking voting machines. But it doesn't matter because the left is off and running with this now, as is the drive-by media, as best as can be determined, and it's really in the weeds the more you read this NSA document. Apparently, and I don't know if I even believe this, folks. This is too convenient. This is, it's too pat. It fits an agenda that the left has no evidence for, that they've been pursuing and chasing for nearly a year now. And all of a sudden, when I'm not here, by the way, all of a sudden, when I'm not here, this massive secret documents discovered by some 25-year-old consultant for the NSA, and she printed it out and sent it to the Intercept. Now, the Intercept is a website founded by Glenn Greenwald. Glenn Greenwald is the journalist that coached and covered Snowden, Edward Snowden. Greenwald is in the movie about Snowden. Snowden met with Greenwald before he went to work even for Booz Allen, which in Hawaii, which was the NSA consultant that Snowden worked for. And now this babe was working at a consulting company for the NSA in Augusta, Georgia. She prints out these documents. Let's deal with them for a moment as it's been reported. I just want to reiterate, I'm not sure that at this stage I believe any of this. This is too big a smoking gun, and if this document really contained what it said to contain, we would have heard about it long before now. But let's run with it, nevertheless, according to the hypothetical. The interesting thing, and there are many interesting things about this, I didn't know until I started looking into this, that practically every modern printer records metadata that can be easily ascertained if you have easily available computer programs. In every document that a printer prints, there are nearly invisible yellow dots. These yellow dots differ from printer to printer. And if they are detected and analyzed, they can tell anybody the serial number of the printer, the physical location of the printer, and therefore maybe the person that printed the document. This is how she was discovered. Did you know that your printer, you look at a plain white sheet that's got some text on it, did you know there are yellow dots on it? There are. You have to use a couple of computer programs to invert colors, turn the whites to black, and then you have to go to use another program that delineates it further. It's like Photoshop type stuff. And you can see these yellow dots. They're plain as day once they have been translated. They're infinitesimal. You'll never see them looking at a printed document, maybe with a giant magnifying glass, but they're tiny. But they contain information, the way they're arranged, how many of them are solid versus how many of them are not solid, just open circles, and they contain information about the identity of the printer and where the printer is and the serial number. This is how this babe was nabbed. And she now has got a lawyer. I'm not sure she's going to... Oh, you want to hear something else, folks? This woman, Reality Winner, has been arrested under the identical statute that James Comey said did not warrant prosecuting Hillary Clinton. It's the identical statute that they have charged her, or going to charge her, whatever, she's under arrest. The same exact statute where James Comey said no reasonable prosecutor would ever go after Hillary Clinton because there is no record of intent. So we have here basically a 25-year-old who speaks 3 different languages in Afghanistan. This is one of the reasons why people think she got the security clearance, but she didn't work for the NSA. She works for a company that is a consultant, just like Snowden did, working for Booz Allen in Honolulu. And she comes across whatever she comes across and sends it to this website, The Intercept, which is associated with Edward Snowden. She didn't send it to even the drive-by news outlets. It's an indication of how she's been radicalized and who informs her. And it's you look at these young people and some of the stuff that happened. I paid attention to all of it when I had snatches of time.
My friends, radicalized is exactly what this girl has been, and it's exactly, by the way, what your children are being having done to them. If they're on a college campus, they just about doesn't matter which college campus, they are being targeted and radicalized, not to blow anything up except the United States of America and the way we live and how our society functions and what our values are. Millennials are being radicalized, and we need to put a stop to it. We'll take a break. We'll be back, my friends. More Real Truth.
And the Word became flesh and dwelt among us, and we beheld his glory, the glory as of the only begotten of the Father, full of grace and truth. John bore witness of him and cried out, saying, This was he of whom I said, He who comes after me is preferred before me, for he was before me. The Gospel of John, chapter 1, verse 14 and 15. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just power from the consent of the governed. This is the America's News Network. This is beautiful people in Greeley. Police, firefighters, work in our community. We thank them for doing a great job in our area. Live, shop, and raise a family. We realize their job is dangerous, sometimes death. This message is from Simple Uniform People in Greeley. Call 352-2233. They're on the air because they care. And hired outsourcing America. Census, the uniform people in Greeley. Piccolo's restaurant in Denver reminds us that over 750,000 children were reported missing last year. Over 58,000 of these were abducted by non-family members. Keep an eye out for youngsters at play, and if you see anything suspicious, contact the authorities immediately. This message from Piccolo's restaurant in Denver is not only the best Italian and Mexican cuisine, it's the people who care. Give them a call at 303-757-5166. 303-757-5166.
Guys, welcome back to Real Truth. Let's go back just a few days. Ann Coulter was paying a visit to the Sean Hannity radio show. And they're talking about a whole bunch of stuff. Most of all, the thing with Ann Coulter, she wants the wall. God bless her, because so do I. She wants Trump to keep that promise, and I'm confident that he will. Ann Coulter, Sean Hannity, go.
All right, there it is, Hillary Clinton. You know, if you really thought, she blames the FBI. She blames James Comey. The Russians are coming. Vladimir Putin, anti-American forces, low information voters. Everyone assumed she'd win. Bad polling numbers. The DNC was a mess. You know, people wanting change, misogyny, suburban women, the New York Times, the mainstream media, cable news, Netflix. Democrats not making the right documentary. She's blamed Facebook and Twitter and WikiLeaks and content farms from Macedonia. Wow. Ann Coulter is with us, author of And Trump We Trust. E-Plurb is awesome. How are you?
You also forgot that the sun was in her eyes.
Yeah, I think I forgot.
Oh my gosh, these liberals are sore losers. Every election they lose. You know, Gord fought in Florida. He's a sore loser. Kerry, remember there was that conspiracy theory about the Diebold Corporation flipping the votes in Ohio. That was in 2004. But Hillary really topped them all. I also like her very, and thank you, that's a very good collection of her quotes. I can't bear to watch her. I am so glad she's our president just so we don't have to watch her. And by the way, that is not part of it. I felt the same way when John McCain lost. I never wanted to hear that voice again. But this idea that she knows the precise date on which suburban women turned against her. No, I think we were all reading the polls pretty closely. They were being broadcast from every outlet, and all the polls showed she was going to crush Donald Trump. She was going to get more than 300 electoral votes. That was by far the balance of. There were a few outlying polls who showed that showed Trump had a chance, but the day of the election, New York Times gave Hillary Clinton a 90% chance of winning. Also, on the Comey thing, you know, okay, one time he came out and made a statement that was not helpful to her, but 2 times he came out and made statements that were helpful. Remember, first he says she's not under investigation, then it comes back, not through Comey's own doing, but from I guess, the prosecution office looking at Anthony Weiner's laptop, and he has to say, okay, well, it's not completely closed. We're looking at some things on Anthony Weiner's laptop. That's supposed to be the great, defining moment. But then, what was it, 4 days before the election, Comey comes out again and says, no, she's absolutely not under election. She's free and clear, free to go, law-abiding citizen. So, I don't know. I take 2 out of 3 comments, appropriate or not. 2 out of 3 of FBI Director Comey's statements were helpful to Hillary Clinton. They are just sore losers. On the other hand, she may have a point, and I think she should consider running again in 2020. Just get a better data operation going.
Let me ask you about this. You know, I watched you, and I had you on the program, and I watched you over the years get attacked as you go around the country. By the way, I've told you privately and personally that I think you're nuts by wanting to go to all these liberal college campuses. On the one hand, on the other hand, I admire the hell out of you because you've got more guts than most people that I know in 40 lifetimes, and you do it, and yet you so often are either shouted down, they tried to attack you with a pie or something and hit you once. You said
they did not hit me because of my reflexes.
Right, your lightning reflexes. And then, then you have Milo Yiannopoulos, and then you afterwards. Then you get shut down at Berkeley by these liberal fascists. You've been watching what's happening to me, and you've watched what has happened to other conservatives over the years. What is wrong with these people that they're so afraid of what we have to say?
Well, for one thing, they should be afraid. College speeches are not only a lot of fun, but they do make a difference. And I am just the sort of person who does not actually like getting standing ovations. I prefer heckles. It's funner. But I must say, over the years, I'm often the only conservative college kids are going to hear in 4 years of college. And one time at Syracuse University, I go out with college Republicans afterwards, and there was one kid at the table who keeps telling me what happens at the meetings of the Greens, and the college socialists. And he knew so much, and there were funny stories, but I finally said to him, what, are you a spy? What are you doing at all these meetings? And he many experiences like that. There is a reason, there's a good reason they need their Chinese-style brainwashing, and even allowing little 99-pound me on campus for an hour threatens the vacuum of no outside information may penetrate. But I would also say things have changed dramatically, and I think it is entirely an effect of the college administrators. I described college speeches at the beginning of one of my books. I forget which one it was. The quote book.
Let's put this one of my #1 best-selling books. Go ahead.
Yes, exactly.
Exactly. I'm helping you out. Go ahead.
Thank you. I think it's the one. It's Democrats and its brains they be Republicans. And what was striking to me was most of the college speeches are fantastic. I mean, liberals will show up and they'll challenge you. But especially at the better colleges and the southern colleges, there would never be heckling or certainly not any violence. They wanted to outsmart you. And that's what made the question and answer sessions, well, for one thing, very long, because I'd stay there until I passed out of exhaustion, but also really fun. It tended to be more the Bush League colleges, the community colleges, that sort of thing. Well, now what was weird about Berkeley is that Berkeley, you have to have a high SAT score to get into Berkeley. That's what has been weird this year, since Trump has become president. And I think what has happened is a lot of these protesters, I mean, Antifa, for example, they're not students, they're public school teachers. They're potheads who are government workers in the neighborhood, utterly ballless, but they have to go home, get dressed up in black, put on their masks, operate in a mob. And then the universities back down to them, not because the students agree with them, but because the faculties agree with them. It is the faculties at these universities, which is why, I think Trump really needs to get going on the wall and do a lot of other things. But one of the things the Republicans, and including President Trump, ought to be doing is just cutting off all student aid and all aid to these colleges. They have become opposition forces within American society. And when you see what happened at Evergreen State College and that hilarious statement by the president, which I tweeted out last night, I insist that all of your listeners go read that statement right now to see the state of higher education right now. Apparently in Ohio State, a bunch of protesters did the same thing, and the university said, no, and if you act up, you will be expelled. And that was the end of it. Everyone knows and that's all that needs to happen. The universities aren't doing it because the universities, they are run by the former student protesters now. One of the things you just played, which is, an open, obvious lie, was, I never took this election for granted. She totally did. Read the chapter on election day in Shattered. Everyone was just rushing into her office to mention people that she should include in her victory speech. She had no idea there was any possibility she was going to lose. Never, not for a minute. And yeah, she had fireworks planned the night of her tremendous victory in the Javits Center with the glass ceiling, remember?
Yeah. Look, one of the things that I'm hopeful, now that we can shut down this effort to get me off the air and I can hopefully get back to business, I'm very worried about the lack of time now, and I have a sense of urgency that Republicans are so pathetically slow, and they only have 30-some-odd days scheduled on their agenda to finish repealing, replacing Obamacare and getting through the Senate and conference and on the president's desk, and then the president's economic plan, and yes, and funding the wall. I want the wall funded and start construction immediately. I want these things done, and I'm worried that
he doesn't need Congress to fund it. He's the commander-in-chief. It's his job to defend the nation's borders, not to defend Crimea's borders or Syria and Lebanon's borders. His job is to defend our borders.
Well, I asked him about it. He said he's doing it.
Yeah, the Department of Homeland Security, I think it's worth going to Congress asking for the money only because I want a vote. I want a name-by-name, state-by-state vote. Let's see who votes against funding a wall on our border, and good luck to them in the next election. That's the only reason to have a vote on that.
I agree with you. We've now learned through the Obamacare repeal process that we've got 100 pathetically weak, spineless Republicans. And honestly, if we don't get more conservative members in the Freedom Caucus, I don't think we can get anything of real conservative significance accomplished to the degree that it's possible. And the president's agenda on the economy is conservative. His judges and justices are conservative. The wall is conservative. Energy independence is conservative.
Well, it's pro-American. That's the great thing about Trump. We've given up on both political parties. But Trump really has to go and push his agenda. I mean, he is a unicorn. We've never had anything like this. And it isn't just standard Republican politics. He got a lot of Democrat votes, and most of all, he got votes from people who haven't voted at all for 20, 30 years. If he lets them down, he is screwed, the GOP is screwed, and the country is over. As for the repeal and replace, I would add to your very impressive list of adjectives describing most Republicans in Congress, which I completely concur with, I would add stupid. They are just...
All right, Dan, I got to take a break, but stay right there. Best-selling author Ann Coulter with us. All right, as we continue with Ann Coulter, best-selling author, E-Plurb is awesome, and Trump we trust. And I guess the next question, we left off with you saying Republicans are really stupid, and my little list of adjectives.
Like a liberal just calling people's names. No, I have facts to back this up. Look, to fix healthcare in this country is easy, has been easy. They just won't do it. Obviously, there are political issues. People are going to be upset. Mostly the ones who distribute free stuff. They're always the ones who are the welfare programs, not the recipients. It's the government workers, giving cheese to the poor. They're the ones who are going to be out protesting. In any event, it's very easy to avoid the protest and solve the entire issue by not repealing Obamacare, so there are no protests, but you allow a free market in health insurance. I described this repeatedly in a few columns a little while ago. It's so simple, and Trump promised it during the campaign. Look, this is the difference in the Soviet Union and America. The reason our grocery stores are bursting with varieties and inexpensive food, high-quality food, is because of capitalism. Just allow health insurance to be sold on a nationwide market, something that has not been true in our lifetimes. Oh, no. You have to buy your health insurance only state by state. Then the state insurance commissioners, as Donald Trump described in the debates, they get control. They get lobbied by, the hearing therapist, the marriage therapist, the drug therapist, the aromatherapist, and you're not allowed to buy a health insurance plan that doesn't cover all those things. No one runs those things except the providers of those services. The way to get rid of them is not to have Paul Ryan micromanaging what services get covered. Allow us to buy it on the free market.
And we got to roll up.
That is what conservatism sounds like, my friends, and it is refreshing. Item from QZ.com. Financial disaster is looming, and not because of the stock market or subprime loans. The coming crisis is more insidious, structural, and almost certain to blow up eventually. The World Economic Forum predicts that by 2050, the world will face a $400 trillion shortfall in retirement savings. Yes, that's trillion with a T. The WEF defines a shortfall as anything less than what's required to provide 70% of a person's pre-retirement income via public pensions and private savings. The U.S. will find itself in the biggest hole, falling $137 trillion short of what's necessary to fund adequate retirements in 2050. It's followed by China's $119 trillion shortfall. Unquote. Item from the Telegraph over in England. French police have shot a man outside Notre Dame in Paris after he tried to attack them with a hammer, according to local media. One policeman was injured in the attack. The main square has always been evacuated, and the police operation is underway. Paris police say the situation is now, quote, under control. 2 blasts sparked panic among tourists amassed outside Notre Dame. A man was then seen, quote, lying on the ground inert, according to a journalist with France Info who works by the cathedral, unquote. My friends, I think it was Rush Limbaugh who was saying earlier today, you look at Japan, you look at Poland. These are 2 countries that have no Muslims in them. And you know what else they lack? Terrorism. There's no sizable, no meaningful number of Muslims in Japan, and they sleep well at night. Possible there's a lesson there for us? We'll be back.
If you're picking 1, 2, 5, or more nutritional supplements,
Well, good evening and welcome to
simplify your supplementation with Bio Superfood, the most advanced nutritional whole food supplement you can buy. Men, women, children, even Olympic athletes the world over have discovered Bio Superfood from BioAge.com. And now take just 1 nutritional supplement in superfood formulas are whole food products composed with 4 of the most nutrient-dense algae found on Earth. Bio Superfood for the brain helps with focus, memory, clarity, and mood. If you can increase brain health, the rest of the body is a no-brainer. Bio Superfood has zero
Clinton's 2016.
and is safe for you and your family. Learn more and order your Bio Superfood formulas at bioage.com. Spelled BIOAGE.com. Bioage.com. Or call 877-288-9116. That's 877-288-9116. BioAge, the age of advanced organics. Now this is the testimony of John when the Jews sent priests and Levites from Jerusalem to ask him, "Who are you?" He confessed and did not deny, but confessed, "I am not the Messiah." And they asked him, "What then? Are you Elijah?" He said, "I am not." "Are you the prophet?" And he answered, "No." The Gospel of John, chapter 1, verse 19 through 21.
The associates at your 24-hour Walmart Supercenter Lafayette remind you, no one anywhere is more noble, righteous, selfless, or courageous than our United States Armed Forces. These brave men and women and their families foot the bill for our freedom every day. Send a military care package today to let them know that they are in our hearts and our prayers and our thoughts. This message is from the associates at your 24-hour Walmart Supercenter on Highway 287 in Lafayette. They're on the air because they care.
Elizabeth Locker Plan and Elizabeth reminds our listeners that the drug problem is well documented. We know our kids will be approached at early age. We want to applaud the youngsters in our community who have had the strength to say no to drugs. They provide examples to their peers and families to be the best they can be. That's from Elizabeth Locker Plant, located at 366 Grand Street in Elizabeth, serving our area since 1943 and specializing in naturalized aged beef and pork and complete custom processing. Call 303-688-2240. That's 303-688-2240.
We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America.
All right, guys, welcome back to Real Truth. You know, a majority of voters in Colorado wanted Hillary Clinton to be president. Let's be honest. Those people aren't very bright. They voted for the worst candidate to run for president, certainly in my lifetime, and I'm an old geezer. Tucker Carlson was talking about Queen Hillary yesterday, and she's on what he's calling her excuse tour. She's blaming everybody and everything in the world for her loss except herself. You guessed it. Here's Tucker Carlson, Fox News.
Clinton's 2016 excuse tour continued today. She spoke tonight at the Javits Center in New York City. If the name of that place sounds familiar, there's a reason. That's the place Clinton abandoned her supporters on election night. She didn't even bother to show up after she failed to win. Instead, she sent John Podesta out to send her sobbing fans home. Well, 7 months later, Clinton finally showed up. What did she have to say? Well, initially she suggested she was ready to take some responsibility for losing.
Is the really painful experience of honestly understanding, what I didn't do well or what I didn't do well enough or what our shortcomings were, where we, missed an opportunity, where we didn't do, in retrospect, what might have worked better.
But then, nope. She went right back to the Russian conspiracy.
Obviously, I'm particularly concerned about the role that Russia played and the very serious interference that we know they were responsible for in our most fundamental democratic act. You can't be all right with the idea that a foreign adversary was trying to influence the outcome of our election.
But it wasn't just secret Macedonian agents who derailed her God-given job as president. It was, of course, sexism.
In my book, I take on the issues of sexism and misogyny and talk about it because we need to pull it out and put it in the bright light. And it may be uncomfortable for some people to read how I experienced it, what I believe about it, but I think that's a conversation we need to have.
Hillary also did nothing to back off from her comments yesterday when she began spouting full-blown conspiracy theories about how the Trump campaign masterminded a Russian effort to destroy her.
The Russians, let's say WikiLeaks, same thing, dumped the John Podesta emails. My email account was turned into, the biggest scandal since Lord knows when. They covered it like it was Pearl Harbor, then got paid for the speeches they made. I got paid for the speeches I made, and it was used, and I thought it was unfairly used. I have my complaints about former Director Comey.
Well, think about the rap you've heard endlessly against the president. He's narcissistic. He won't accept information he disagrees with. He's disconnected from reality. He betrays friends and allies for his own personal gain. Based on what you just saw and her behavior these last few weeks, do any of these criticisms not apply to Hillary Clinton? Be honest with yourself. She can't accept explanations for her defeat that center on her own strategy. So like a Soviet commissar, she searches for wreckers who sabotaged her. She's so detached from reality, she's accusing the Trump campaign of ordering specific hacking efforts to the minute and provides no evidence. And she's so narcissistic, the only person she can't blame for her defeat is herself, when even her biggest handicaps were, of course, self-inflicted. Charles Krauthammer is a writer and columnist, and he joins us now. It does sound like the critique people make of Trump.
Look, I know I'm in a minority here among conservatives, but I actually feel sorry for her.
I do too. I agree.
I have a soft spot. It could be because I was in my youth a liberal.
Yes.
I retain the marshmallow deep inside my heart, and I try not.
My friends, if Charles Krauthammer has a soft spot for Hillary Clinton, it must be in his head. Because I guarantee you Hillary Clinton would walk over his inert body in order to get some power.
Not to betray these days, but it's a pathetic performance. It's sort of childish. She obviously can't accept responsibility. She's practiced at this, where she says, I love in one of her riffs, she said, was I a perfect candidate? No. Did I make mistakes? Yes. As if these are rhetorical devices. Whoever said she was a perfect candidate? She was a terrible candidate. She was the worst, the worst imaginable. She had all the advantages. Why? Just look at the fact that she couldn't shake the challenge of a 74-year-old socialist who, this is the best part about Bernie Sanders, honeymooned in the Soviet Union. She couldn't shake his challenge for 6 months. By the way, Lydia Graham once said about Bernie in the Soviet Union, yes, and he never left. That was her challenge. She had the DNC behind her. She complained about the DNC being against her. It's not delusional. This is losing an election, losing something you've been after for 8 years, probably 16 years, is pretty hard. And I think her handlers or somebody who cares for her should have said, don't go out there. You wait a few more years, people will mellow to you. They won't remember details. Maybe they'll have some affection for you. For Michael Dukakis, for Walter Mondale. These are people who weren't who didn't elicit the same kind of antipathy she does because they didn't wallow in self-pity.
And anger, and it comes off. And I understand the disappointment. For sure, she put a lot on the line and she lost. And you can understand her grave disappointment.
She lost twice.
But twice. But this is not helpful to the Democratic Party, which needs to think through why they lost, and she's making it pretty hard to do that.
My friends, you've been waiting a long time for me to say something good about Hillary Clinton. Okay, the day has arrived. Here I go. You ready? Buckle up. I'm about to say something nice about Hillary Clinton. Here it is. She's so blind, so hypocritical, such a liar, so dishonest, so sleazy, so slimy, that she is helping to destroy the Democratic Party. There, I've said it. Anyone who helps to put the Democrats out of business is helping America. Now, Hillary Clinton doesn't know that. She's not bright enough to realize that. And if she did realize it, she wouldn't care, because all that matters to Hillary Clinton is Hillary Clinton. But she is ripping holes in the Democrat Party. She's wrecking their support. She's sowing the seeds of discourse, and I love it. I love it. There's no leadership, no intelligence in the Democrat Party, no direction, nothing but bile, nothing but hate. Which is why they chose someone filled with bile and hate like Hillary Clinton. So yes, let her continue to yammer. Let her go out and speak and go on TV and all that stuff, print books. The more she talks, the deeper the hole that the Democrat Party is in. When it gets deep enough, my friends, we'll shovel dirt on it and bury it once and for all. And then, counterintuitive though it may be, we will all lock arms and say thank you, Hillary Clinton. Thank you. Let that be her legacy. All right, we're going to take a break. We'll be back. More news. My friends, you're listening to Real Truth. This summer, this August, it's going to be 9 full years on the air. We'll be back.
Malkin now, you know, she's host of Michelle Malkin Investigates on CRTV.com. And Michelle, we've talked.
So the law was given through Moses, but grace and truth came through Yeshua HaMashiach, Jesus the Christ. No one has seen God at any time. The only begotten Son, who is in the bosom of the Father, he has declared him. The Gospel of John, chapter 1, verse 16. Article 4. The right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrant shall be issued but upon probable cause, supported by oath or affirmation, and particularly describing the places to be searched and the persons or things to be seized. If catastrophe struck, would your family be prepared? Are you confident you wouldn't react in a panic? Is there one place to get all of your emergency supplies? Ferris Survival encourages you to have confidence through preparation, not panic through crisis. Ferris Survival, located at 3366 South Broadway, is a professional, reputable, full-service business providing quality, realistic preparedness supplies at an affordable price. Go online, stop by, or call 303-781-0343. Ferris Survival. American Window Tinting Incorporated in Franktown reminds parents, keep an eye on your child while shopping. Children tend to stray or become lost. This poses an opportunity for a would-be abductor. Please make every effort to keep track of your little ones at all times. If you have information regarding a lost child, call local authorities at once. This message is from American Window Tinting Incorporated in Franktown. For residential or commercial window tinting, call 303-263-4228.
Oh yeah, Islam. I don't want you folks to think I've forgotten about Islam. You know, the subject, the general subject is evil people, which is why I was talking about Hillary Clinton. But now we'll go to Muslims. Specifically, we're talking about Manchester here. This is Michelle Malkin. You know what? We can do better than that. Rather than talking about Manchester, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to get, let's see, so many choices. Let's talk about some other evil idiot. Let's have Michelle Malkin talking about Kathy Griffin. Here we go.
Hello and welcome again. You know, Kathy Griffin.
Even though she is on record in an interview with Vulture magazine last year saying that she specifically was going to target right? That she was going to target Barron Trump as a mother of a 13-year-old son who would have just been as traumatized by that bloody, sick, and vile image of Donald Trump that Kathy Griffin and Tyler Shields were responsible for. As a mother, my blood boils. All that
Exactly, Michelle. Okay, so that's what they gave us. And I'm feeling, no, I need more of that. I want to see the whole thing, right? Of course, I dived in. That's what you needed.
Investigates on CRTV. Michelle, always good to have you here. I have no doubt that you are passionate about this issue. If you watch the mainstream media, it's like we've lost our leadership in the world completely. Yeah, leadership and, well, these people have lost their marbles. I can report to you definitively and exclusively that the spike in global warming this week came from the hysteria and the hyperbole and the hot air generated by these people and the rhetorical gases that they've been spewing. You know, as has been pointed out by many sane people, they are stirring up this chicken little alarmism over an accord that is non-enforceable and that really is bound by transnationalism rather than any sense of what's best for this country.
Well, Michelle, the ACLU disagrees with you. It says that this pulling out of the Paris Accords breaking news is racist. They say it's racist that we've pulled out of this, and they say, look, I'm quoting them, they say black and brown Americans live closer to coal-powered plants, therefore this will adversely affect them. Asthma rates on the rise. It's racist, Michelle.
Yes, right. It's racist, it's sexist, it's every ist. And really what it is cultist. If you listen closely to the talking points of all of these people, these radical greenies, it really is a cult. It is a cult of eco-robots, eco-bots. They say the same thing. And again, rational people think, what? What are you talking about? Climate change is real. Climate change is real. Climate change is real. Can we grow up? Because the question isn't whether it's real or not. It's even if you grant, even if you look past all of the actual dissent, all of the actual scientific debate that truly exists beyond all of this hot air, the public policy question, the adult public policy question is, even if it quote unquote exists, even if it is attributable mostly to anthropogenic sources, and we can't even say that for sure, but let's just grant that. The public policy question is, do the costs of government intervention outweigh the benefits, the imagined benefits that these people are posturing and positing exist?
That's such a great point. And is it the free market or statism that will ultimately liberate?
And I just want to point out.
Yeah, it's the free market. I'll answer this guy's question. It's the free market that ultimately is the detergent that cleans whatever is wrong. And that's the way capitalism is supposed to work, and that's the way it does work. When the government gets involved, bad things happen. Michelle Malkin is absolutely correct. This Paris Accord was non-enforceable. It would have placed heavy burdens on the United States economy while allowing China and India, which is about the two worst polluters on the planet, to do as they wish. Wouldn't hamper them at all. So it would have buried America deeper and deeper and allowed this global edifice, these globalists. I just got cut off. I thought they're trying to tell me something. Hang on. I got cut off the air.
You've reached the offices of the American Freedom Network, KHNC 1368.
Try not to take it personally, my friends. Something at the radio station cut me off. Let's see if I can get back on the phone and then back on the air. Thumbs up.
the offices of the American Freedom Network, KHNC 1368.
No good, my friends. No good. The radio station isn't picking up. They cut me off, and now they're not picking me up. That's not good. That's in radio, we call that not good.
Back and get it now.
Hey, Cody, I got cut off.
Yeah, well, we had a issue. Power down. We lost power. We're back on.
Okay.
Alrighty.
All right, guys, we had some power problems. We're back. We're just about to hit a commercial. When we come back, we'll do some news. Suffice it to say this. Go to YouTube, punch in the name Michelle Malkin, M-A-L-K-I-N. I guarantee anything you find her saying will be intelligent. It'll make sense. It'll be pro-American. And it'll be something that will lead this country back to the path we should be on. So many liberal wackos out there these days. It's like someone's been manufacturing them on an assembly line. We're going to go to a break. When we come back, I've got, let's see, Alabama counties, 85% drop in food stamp participation. You'll never guess why. More than 50 people. All right, I'll tell you why, because we don't seem to be going to a break. This is from AL.com. 13 previously exempted Alabama counties saw an 85% drop in food stamp participation after work requirements were put in place on January 1, according to the Alabama Department of Human Resources, unquote. So what does this mean? It means these people, 85% of these people who were getting food stamps didn't need them. Because if they did need them, they wouldn't be able to drop off the rolls. They would need to stay on the food stamp rolls to continue to get them. They just find working a distasteful chore. They don't want to have to work for the freebies they get. They just want freebies. Well, maybe that makes them typical Americans, but if it does, America's got a lot of problems. Item from Breitbart. More than 50 have died in the last month as a result of the raging cartel violence in this border city of Reynosa, Mexico. As Breitbart Texas has reported for more than a month, rival factions of the Gulf Cartel are carrying out attacks on each other to take control of lucrative drug trafficking territories and smuggling routes. Unquote. My friends, that's why we need a wall. That's why we need to broadcast to the citizens of Mexico. You're no longer allowed to come over our border illegally. If you do, you will be shot. Shot. Item also from Breitbart. The Canadian government may legally remove children from families that refuse to accept their child's chosen, quote, gender identity, thanks to new legislation passed by the Ontario province. Bill 89, called Supporting Children, Youth and Families Act 2017, was approved on June 1 by a vote of 63 to 23. The Minister of Children and Youth Services, Michael Coutu, who introduced the bill, said earlier this year that parents' failure to recognize and support a child's gender self-identification is a form of child abuse. And a child in these circumstances should be removed from the situation and placed into protection. Quote, I consider that a form of abuse when a child identifies one way and a caregiver is saying, no, you need to do this differently, Coutu said. If it's abuse, and if it's within the definition, the child can be removed from the environment and placed in the protection where the abuse stops. Unquote. A message to Michael Coutu of the Ministry of Children and Youth Services in Canada. Michael, you're a fool. Young children aren't able to make decisions about what gender they wish to be. Boys are boys and girls are girls. It's only when liberal idiots get their hands on kids that suddenly a red flag comes up and it's questionable. And to so easily say we're going to take children away from the families who love them the most and know them the best is absolutely unconscionable. Item from InfoWars. The only way to protect Poland from Islamic terror attacks is to not allow Muslims to migrate en masse, a British-born senior member of parliament for the nation's ruling party said on Monday. Quote, when it comes to reducing the chances of Poland being hit by Islamist terror attacks, the only proven method is to not allow in Muslim migrants. said Rysard Zarnecki to a local radio station after an attack on London on Saturday killed 7 and injured at least 48. Noting the children of Islamic immigrants have been responsible for a large number of ISIS-inspired attacks on European soil, the London-born Law and Justice Member of Parliament said Poland is, quote, learning from the mistakes of other nations in the West, and so refuses to open its borders to Islamic migrants. Unquote. My friends, this is what I've been saying on this show for years. No Muslims, no Muslim violence. No Islam, no Islamic jihad. I want you to stop telling jokes about Polish people. The Poles are ahead of us. They know that if there are no Muslims, there won't be Muslim violence. Anyone besides me in this country smart enough to have come to that conclusion? Item from InfoWars. A member of UKIP's youth wing has been labeled far right by his school and reported to the government's Prevent De-Radicalization program, which is designed to stop young people from being drawn into terrorism. Michael Higginson, a 15-year-old student at Vision Studio School in Mansfield in England, also claims teachers openly back the Labour Party and said the website for his local UKIP branch is blocked on the school's internet service. He told Breitbart London the school's safeguarding officer told him he could have committed a hate crime and that they needed to find out if he was an extremist before he is subsequently interviewed by 2 police officers. My friends, children are being targeted because they're weak, they're defenseless. They're being targeted by liberals because liberals target weak and defenseless people. They need to appeal to young people because young people don't know much. And no one is going to believe the arguments put forth by a liberal except someone who doesn't know much. And so if you've been voting liberal, you need to stop. You need to be smarter. You need to distance yourself from liberals because they're dishonest people a lot of the time. Now we're done for today. I will be back tomorrow with more Real Truth. Hopefully we'll have all our technical glitches sorted out by then. I plan on presenting an item from the Economic Collapse blog, a list of 100 things liberals hate about America. If you go to my Facebook page today, Real Truth Radio, you'll see that list. And we'll cover it tomorrow on the show. My friends, listen to me. Stay safe. Stay healthy. Stay angry.